Most people are paying monthly subscriptions for AI tools they do not actually need anymore. Not because the tools are bad, it's because the free alternatives have gotten good enough that the gap has quietly closed. These 5 tools are either completely free or free enough to use seriously without hitting a wall that matters for most people's actual workflows. And at least 2 of them are already good enough to replace something you might currently be paying $20 a month for. I am going to let you figure out which 2 as we go. One thing up front, when I say free in this video, I mean free enough to genuinely use without paying, not free for 30 seconds before a paywall appears. Every tool here has a free tier with real ongoing access. I will flag the honest limitations when they exist, because there are a few, and pretending otherwise would make this video useless. Tool 1. DeepSeek. If you follow AI news at all, you have probably heard the name. In early 2025, DeepSeek released a model that matched OpenAI's best at roughly 10% of the cost, and the industry genuinely did not see it coming. What most people do not realize is that the chat interface at chat.deepseek.com is completely free to use. Not a trial, not a limited preview. The same underlying model capability that caused that disruption is accessible through a browser with no credit card and no usage cap for standard chat use. For writing, reasoning, research, coding, and summarizing it, performs at a level that would have required a paid subscription 12 months ago. The free tier has no meaningful output restriction for everyday tasks. It runs slightly slower than paid API access during peak hours, but for a solo user working through a normal day, that distinction rarely matters in practice. If you are currently paying for an AI assistant and using it primarily for writing and research, DeepSeek is worth testing before your next billing cycle. Tool 2. Gamma. I want you to think about the last time you had to build a presentation from scratch. The blank slide, the template selection, the hour of formatting before you have written a single word of actual content. Gamma eliminates most of that. You type a prompt, describe the topic, the audience, the rough structure you want, and Gamma generates a complete presentation with slides, visual layout, and written content in under a minute. Not a rough outline. A working first draft with design already applied. The free tier gives you 400 AI credits, which is enough for roughly 10 full presentations before you need to decide whether it earns a paid slot in your workflow. Honest caveat, free exports carry a small Gamma watermark, so for client-facing decks, you will probably eventually want the paid plan. For internal work, personal projects, and fast turnaround presentations where the audience is not a paying client, the free tier is more generous than most people expect. The paid plan starts at $10 a month, but most people testing it for the first time will get significant value before they need to think about that. Tool 3. Perplexity. The simplest way to describe Perplexity is this. It is what happens when you combine a search engine with an AI that actually reads the results before answering you. You ask a question, and instead of a list of links, you get a structured answer synthesized from multiple current sources with citations you can click to verify, no tab switching, no reading 6 articles to find one answer. The free tier gives you unlimited standard searches and 5 pro searches per day, pro being the deeper, more source-intensive version. For most research tasks, the standard free tier is more than sufficient. The use case that saves the most time is competitive or topic research. The kind where you would normally open 10 tabs, skim 8 of them, and spend an hour assembling a picture that Perplexity hands you in 30 seconds. It also stays current, which matters for anything where information changes. This is the tool on this list with the most immediate, day one time saving for almost anyone doing regular research. If you have only tried one of these 3 so far, the next 2 are the ones most people have not seen before. Tool 4 is Suno. It needs no instruments, no recording equipment, and no musician involved. This is what Suno does. You describe a song, genre, mood, tempo, lyrics if you want them, or just a theme and let it write them. And Suno generates a full track with vocals, instrumentation, and production in under a minute. The free tier gives you 50 credits per day, which translates to roughly 10 songs. The honest limitation worth knowing. Free tier output is for personal use rather than commercial client work, so factor that in before building it into a paid workflow. For content creators making background music, for people who want custom audio for personal projects, or for anyone who just wants to see what this technology actually sounds like, the free tier is genuinely impressive, and the barrier to entry is a browser tab. This is the tool on this list that will make the most people stop and show their phone to whoever is nearby. Tool 5. Otter AI. This one does not have the visual wow factor of Suno or the instant gratification of Gamma. What it has is the kind of usefulness that quietly changes your relationship with meetings. Otter transcribes calls and meetings in real time, generates an automated summary of what was discussed, extracts action items, and makes the entire conversation searchable after the fact. The free tier gives you 300 transcription minutes per month and covers the core features. For someone who sits through 3 or 4 meetings a week, that is enough. The value is not the transcription itself. Most people do not read back full transcripts. The value is the summary and the action items. The thing that used to require a person taking notes, staying focused enough to capture decisions accurately, and spending 15 minutes after the call writing it up, Otter handles automatically in the background while you are actually present in the conversation, rather than documenting it. That shift is smaller than it sounds and larger than it sounds at the same time. Here is the honest verdict. The 2 tools on this list that genuinely replace something people commonly pay for are DeepSeek, which competes directly with paid AI assistants for writing and reasoning tasks, and Gamma, which replaces a meaningful portion of what people use Canva Pro or paid slide tools for. Perplexity replaces a habit more than a subscription, the habit of opening 15 tabs for one research question. Suno and Otter both add something new rather than replacing something existing, which makes them additions to a workflow rather than substitutions. None of these are perfect. Every free tier has a ceiling. But the ceiling on all 5 of these is higher than most people assume. And assuming you need to pay before testing the free version is how the AI subscription bill quietly climbs to $80 a month without anyone noticing. If you are currently paying for AI tools and you have not audited that spending in the last 3 months, this week is a good time to do it. If you found this video helpful, subscribe so I can continue to look at more of these tools for you. See you in the next one.